Him asshole. This is a religious day. We really should dedicate Sundays to religious talk. Maybe that's what I'll do from now on. Although I feel like everything is a distraction from Palestine at this point. Everything. Everything they keep throwing at us. Pay attention to this. Pay attention to this. Pay attention to this. Don't look over here. Pay attention to this. You know, the Epstein thing is easily the best distraction we've been given in a long time. That being said, all the best distractions, what makes them the best distraction is the element of truth, the level of truth that's implied, involved in whatever it may be. You know, the best distractions have a large element of truth to them. And that's how it works. So when it comes to Epstein stuff, the one element that isn't being talked about is the Mossad-Israeli connection. This man was clearly a Mossad agent. This man was clearly, Robert Maxwell Part 2. And it really sucks because it's like, I wish I could actually do this and there would be, multiple people focused on the point. Whether I'm right or wrong, that's one thing. But just focused. If we could just talk this out properly, we could figure out what's going on. Don't know if you saw the newest video at the American aid sites. People are lined up to get their aid and they're being shot. What are my thoughts on DMT? Just is like whatever. Dextromethorphan. What's up, dude? DMT, just one of those. I mean, it's weird, right? Like, I think about it like if I'm talking to regular people, I have a thought. But if I'm talking to my kid, I'm talking to another, I have another thought. Like I tell my kids all the time, don't ever do heroin because you'll like it. I try not to scare my kids with nonsense. So many of the drug commercials and effort, the war on drugs, is all about bullshit. You're gonna die the first time. No, you probably won't die the first time. You could, no doubt. But more than likely, you're gonna like it a lot. And that's just as dangerous. I always knew, like, I've been in some dark places. I've been strung the fuck out before. But I always knew if I could get over the hurdle of sticking the needle in my arm, because that's where the real taboo lies, is like, I'm gonna take a needle and stick it in my arm. I always knew if I did that, I wouldn't come back. And I try to tell my kids that shit. Like, don't you ever shoot heroin. I'm not going to tell you. You're going to love it. Nothing in this world feels like shooting heroin. We have family where it's, you know, one of the kids is strung out on dope, and the mom is completely, like, she's, you know, the kid's in his 40s, 41, I believe, and she's still out there driving around looking for his car in the hood, you know, looking for him and shit. He's died a bunch of times, and she just doesn't have any understanding about it, right? And of course, we're gonna have the crybabies come on here and start trying to talk shit because they're pedo Trump supporters. I don't know what else to say. Like, it's so obvious at this point. I tried it and literally thought I went to space and started blasting through pyramids. Yeah, there's definitely something to it. Like, I've had an outer body experience on DMT. But I just think, like, you know, it's artificial. And who knows, like, what you're actually experiencing. I don't know. I'm 60 years old. Back in the day, we snorted mountains of cocaine and then went to smoking it. But I was never a crackhead. I haven't done it in decades. Well, if you're 60 years old, then you lived through the time when cocaine was, like, basically pushed. You know, it was it wasn't considered to be harmless. They knew it was harmless, but they didn't tell us it. Or they knew it wasn't harmless, but they didn't tell us that. Understanding, it's one of the most reprehensible words, along with amazing and journey. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, there's, to me, it's funny because, like, people like talking about things on whatever level they're comfortable at, right? People will talk about drugs and all that, but then when you're like, well, let's talk about why, how, then it shuts down. I'm absolutely concerned for my kids. I absolutely worry about what's going to happen to them, especially with the fentanyls. With fentanyl everywhere. And fentanyl being put into other drugs, like, that makes sense. Why would you put fentanyl into anything else? You could just sell the fentanyl. Especially, why would you put fentanyl into an upper? You know, cocaine or Adderall or whatever. Why would it? Nobody going after upper high wants anything to do with fentanyl. And fentanyl comes from China. You know, you could say it was just some people of color when it was weed, to some degree cocaine, I guess. I mean, still there's such a process there, and heroin too. It's a process, so somebody has to facilitate that process. Shut up, Jessica. But fentanyl is completely manufactured. And so for fentanyl to be in drugs like Adderall, which are manufactured, there has to be a connection there. Did the Nazis really invent meth? I doubt it. I when it comes to the stories we're given regarding just about anything, you know, at this point, why would you believe it? What's the morning? What's the reason that you even begin to accept that shit or anything? to me, the awareness that they lie to us about everything means, everything could possibly be a lie. And I know the stories regarding Nazis and shit, that whole narrative is a lie. It's a manufactured lie. Like the only, like the official story is along the lines of a Jewish person was mean to Hitler at one point, critiqued his art. Hitler was a aspiring artist, and a Jewish guy was mean to him and didn't give him a nice critique. So he somehow rose to power and, committed the Holocaust and all that other shit. Cocaine overdose and so many others. Cocaine is not harmless. No, it's absolutely not. But usually that they die of like a cocaine toxicity thing, where there's so much cocaine in their body, their blood is toxic. Like that's one of those things. But see, to me, like the much more fascinating conversation is the crack, the meth, and the fentanyl conversation. More so crack and meth. I mean, fentanyl, they don't even attempt to say fentanyl is made by regular people. The narrative is that fentanyl comes from China. Referring to the Nazis' role in history as a narrative is delusional. Anti-Semitism was popular in the world all over. Nazis just took it. Yeah, anti-Semitism is a good thing. Anti-Semitism is anti-supremacy. Apparently, you don't know what Semitism means, and I'll be happy to show you. So. We'll put Semitism, we'll put definition into the Google machine. We'll bring up the Merriam-Webster page because Merriam-Webster is the agreed upon, Webster's dictionary.
Semitism.
Run the Semitism page. Number 1A, Semitic character qualities. Number 1B, a characteristic feature of a Semitic language occurring in another language. Number 2, policy or predisposition favorable to Jews. Policy, rules and regulations. Predisposition, how people go into it thinking, favorable to Jews. Understand that. That is supremacy. When you demand that the rules, the policies, the laws, rules and regulations, and the predisposition, how people think about you before they know any of the details or anything, they just know this one thing, to think that that should be favorable to you is insane. No, look, anti-Semitism. Yeah, well, there's just too much of that. There's too many. Anti-Semitism is a work in progress. There are things, the working definition of anti-Semitism versus anti-Semitism, and then there's the changing of the spelling. Do you guys understand this? That in the 1880s, and it's funny because Derek James used both versions of it. Funny enough. Because in 2020, while we were all distracted by COVID, they had hearings. And the thing is, there is no comparative, right? There is no other situation where you can say, oh yeah, this is what they do. They decided that anti-Semitism should no longer be ANTI-capital SEMITISM. and instead should be all one word, all lowercase, ANTISEMITISM, which doesn't even fit like grammatically. It's not even a proper sort of thing. But they changed the spelling literally because they said that they didn't want us, Goyim, the people, to think that anti-Semitism opposed something called Semitism. So they hid it from you. And again, it's been manipulated and all that. A bunch of anti-Semitism has been weaponized. But when you look at how it was first created, it was first It was first coined as a term for what it meant. They opposed the Semitism that was plaguing Europe at the time. The idea that one group of people is supreme to the rest of us. That one group of people gets all the policies and all the predisposition favorable to them. You know, that is supremacy at its very basic, like most basic form, right? They don't even really hide it from you. Do the Merriam-Webster definition for a comparison. I don't care about what the definition of anti-Semitism is. What the definition, and again, there's just, it's been such a weaponized word that you have to be smarter than the initial presentation. And the initial presentation tells you, you know, it's just do the basics. Look up, you know, what both words mean individually. And understand it's like blood libel, right? Blood libel was a term that referred to a practice, especially the Passover practice, of murdering children and putting their blood into the bread, into the matzah, and eating it. It's called blood libel. And they have been accused of it for over 1,000 years, on record. Again, that's if you believe the historic narrative that you're given, right? I doubt you are smarter than the whole Merriam-Webster. The whole of Merriam-Webster, yeah, it has nothing to do with intelligence. Merriam-Webster is a weapon. It's a controlled thing. You know, they give it to us to control us, to have us thinking the certain way, and that's that. It's like the whole Wikipedia thing, right? Like people want to make dumb arguments like anybody can edit Wikipedia. They can't. There has to be a policing system in place. If Wikipedia just allowed anybody to edit their shit all willy-nilly, you could wreck Wikipedia. You could just go to it, click edit, click select all, hit erase, hit delete, and then save it, and then that whole page is gone. They have to do it in a way where they but you used it as your source on Semitism. Right. Yeah. I use what they want us to know. So I know that anti-Semitism is going to be this big, long-winded bunch of bullshit. I already know that. It's the little things where, you know, it's like Semitism, that definition is the way they want us to know it. So you don't need to look up a whole bunch of other shit. Just address, and see, this is true. It's funny too how like this guy is desperately trying to get me to change topics. We'll look this up. Well, what about what that says? What about what Semitism says? Let's address what Semitism says. So you only use the source, Eli, because you use Wiki as a source when it's fueling your delusions. Right. Yep, I'm using Wiki as a source when it fuels my delusions. Again, it's not my source. Wikipedia is what they want us to know. So for those that don't know, This is the IsraelNationalNews.com interviewing Naftali Bennett, at the time future Prime Minister of Israel, today former Prime Minister of Israel. They're interviewing Naftali Bennett about Wikipedia.
In conjunction with my Israel.
Wait, somebody just said, Hamas could surrender. You ever think of that, smart guy? Hamas has tried to give in. Well, Hamas shouldn't give in. That's the main thing. Why should they give in? They're defending their people. But Hamas has offered from the beginning to let all the hostages go as long as Israel stops bombing. And initially, when that was said, they were given the option. Morning, Dookie.
I did, yeah.
How you doing? Sleep well? Good.
Jews are good people.
No, they're not. I know. But they offered to give all the hostages back almost immediately. Because Hamas isn't a thing. Like, that's the other part. Like, you're dumb enough to think Hamas is a thing. Palestine doesn't even have a government. So they couldn't say that it was the Palestinian military that was fighting back. They had to just come up with this bullshit. And anybody that falls for that shit, it's because you want to. There were no Israelis killed on October 7th or taken hostage. It was all fake bullshit.
Has arranged.
Wait. Before we go further.
Moetzet Yesh, in conjunction with My Israel, has
Liar.
arranged Instruction Day for wiki editors. The goal of the day is to teach people how to edit in Wikipedia, which is the #1 source of information today in the world. As a way of example, if someone searches the Gaza flotilla, we want to be there. We want to be the guys who influence what is written there, how it's written, and to ensure that it's balanced and Zionist in nature. I came here to...
So it's so simple, right? Like, you either see this 30-second clip and think, okay, so imagine if Kim Jong-un or something like that was saying it. But he's saying that Israel has arranged an instruction day for the editors of Wikipedia, which at the time was the #1 source of information in the world. So they had been doing their jobs just fine for quite some time at that point. The arrogance in thinking that you're going to go to a successful operation and teach them how to do their job. They're going to teach them how to edit things so that it has a Zionist perspective. They want to be there to influence what people read, how it's written, and what is said, so that it has a Zionist perspective. Right? Unless you can address that shit, just like how all these people aren't addressing what Semitism says. It just, you know, and of course, you know, so we look up, we show you that Israel controls Wikipedia, right? It's the same thing every day, just you have to prove yourself, right? Israel controls Wikipedia. And then who controls social media? Well, Team Jorge is the name given to one single outfit of Israeli contractors specialized in the use of malign cyber activities, including hacking, sabotage, and bot farm-run social media disinformation campaigns. The group was exposed in 2023 after an award-winning undercover operation that had journalists from all over the world. The organization has been active since at least 2015, just before Trump lost the election by 2,700,000 votes, even though Russia supposedly interfered to have him win. And then the AIPAC-controlled swamp that he promised to drain put him in anyway, while Hillary just stepped away like la-di-da. Remember how that happened just a year later? But, and their whole thing is that they influence presidential elections. Right? They've manipulated 33 presidential elections worldwide with 27 cases of success. 27 out of 33 times they've tried to manipulate an election, they were successful. Do you not understand how insane that is? Their activities were revealed following a 2022 sting operation in Tel Aviv, where three undercover journalists posed as prospective clients and filmed their interactions with Tal, T-A-L, Hanan, H-A-N-A-N, the group's leader and former Israeli Special Forces operative, in which he explained the inner workings of the organization. He said that they had been in existence for more than 2 decades and had engaged in propaganda and disinformation activities in more than 30 countries. Their services have been available to government intelligence agencies, political campaigns, and private companies that wish to covertly manipulate public opinion. One of the organization's primary tools is a software package called Advanced Impact Media Solutions, or AIMS. The software automates centralized control of thousands, 30,000 at a time, fake social media profiles on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, all those things. So as far as the comments section that is constantly saying the same things and constantly, using the same talking points to try to distract and change the subject and all that shit. Well, that's one part. That's the automated part. The other part is, and this page is one of those ones that's all locked, so you can't read, you can't edit this page. Even if you could, you can't. Act.il was a social networking service used by supporters of Israel to oppose online, quote, anti-Israel content, such as the Boycott, Divestments, and Sanctions Movement, BDS. Its activities were referred to as a, quote, online propaganda campaign and, quote, a virtual situation room for pro-Israel experts. Pay attention, ready? Act.il directed its users to, quote, missions to like, comment on, and share pro-Israel material on social media. It also asked users to flag, report, and respond to criticisms of Israel. Users were guided on how to respond, which might entail writing a reply using the provided talking points or sharing or uploading an allied comment, right? Because I'm a schizophrenic. The app also provided users with ready-made memes promoting Israel's perspective for them to share. By completing missions, users earned points, unlocked badges, and had their scores displayed on leaderboards. So it's like you can give me all of your opinions all day long, right? You can give me all that bullshit opinion all day long. I'm looking at facts. You constantly say the same things, talking points, the same. Yeah, but I provide my talking points. I'm not guided on how to respond, you idiot. Do you really need help understanding what's being said? Are you really that dumb? Guys, so they want to have a wiki page on that Jewish project you are about all the time. Project One. Look how stupid you are. Look how stupid you are. It's pretty crazy. And this is what's always so interesting, is like, if I'm wrong, why is it so difficult for people to tell me what I'm wrong about? Seems like you could do what I do, right? Where I go through and I use the source material. I use what they want us to know, how they want us to think. I show you the clip of them acknowledging that they control Wikipedia. So then I use Wikipedia knowing that it's their source. And I prove it without a shadow of a doubt. And I show you how they have an automated system that specializes in doing this exact thing. And if you read more into it, you find out that it's way beyond anything. Like all of the people investigating, all the they'd never seen a technology like this. They said it's more like avatars than it is bots, with how intelligent the system is. This AI interference system. But on top of that, you also have basically you know, trolling, interfering in a page where somebody is trying to express truth, especially about Israel and the Jays, they've made it into a video game to entice their people to try to interfere. They get points, they get badges, they get prizes. And you can't show me how this exists in any other capacity. You can't show me the Chinese version. You can't show me the Afghanistani version. And you can't show me the North Korean version of this, the Russian version. And of course, it's not like my argument is picked apart. You know, if I go to the AIPAC page and I read the AIPAC page, I'm not reading the Alex Jones AIPAC page. I'm reading the official narrative that they want us to know about AIPAC, and I'm picking it apart. I'm reading the Team Jorge, the act.il page, and I'm picking it apart. Why don't they do the same thing to me? Right? And here we go with the circles again. This guy thinks that Wikipedia, somehow Wikipedia isn't a good enough source. People will use Wikipedia for everything. It's the #1 source of information in the world. But for some reason, when it comes to exposing Israel, in a very braggart sort of fashion, they're bragging about it. Somehow this has been, somebody came through and misrepresented Israel, and Wikipedia is not a good source at this point. Never mind, they acknowledge that they control it. Like, it's just, this is, the level of opposition is so stupid. You don't address comments. Oh, I should be addressing real good comments like Alex Jones is more accurate than you. I just literally read it to you. You can cry all you want. The fact is, I read you something. You know? I read you something. I ignore shit. I know Israel is shitty. Like, damn, it doesn't mean we have to deny January 6th. What do you mean January 6th? That didn't happen in Israel. And that's fake as shit too. If you honestly believe a group of ragtag fucking white guys can attack a Capitol building in Washington, D.C. for hours without anybody interfering, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Yeah, so, but like, you also picked apart my comment earlier because I admitted Team Juan, because you're too stupid to remember Team Jorge was a total guess, but you skipped that part so you could call me stupid. You're stupid. It's not that one comment that makes you stupid. Again, why aren't you addressing the Semitism definition? Why aren't you addressing what it says? You tell me how I'm wrong about what it says. Right? Tell me. Show me. I love when people use you are as Y-O-U-R. Like, you-are is supposed to be short for Y-O-U''R-E. Otherwise, it doesn't really make sense. But this is that lazy stupidity that they just exude. Because they're stupid. They're stupid, inbred fucking, psychopaths. You're poor. Y-O-U-R, poor. My poor what? For the, my lazy what? Look at how stupid you are. I'll be poor and lazy all day. At least I know fucking your to use. It's just fucking stupid. And to keep using it to prove the point. Like, you're too stupid to know the right word to use. At that point, you eliminate all credibility. Why would anybody take anything you have to say seriously when you can't even get yours right? But this is, this is what I'm saying. Like, these people aren't going to address the things being said. Notice how not one of them actually addresses what Team Jorge says. Like, this is a huge thing. It doesn't matter what side of the coin you're on. You're Republican, you're Democrat, black, white, whatever. The only separator should be Jays, Israelis, and Goyim. The only people that I can possibly think would be okay with this are the Jay Chosens, the Israelis. Anybody else, it doesn't matter what country you're from, it doesn't matter, what race you are, what your religious beliefs are. When you read that or you hear that, Israel has a software that automates 30,000 plus bots at a time to attack any one person or bolster. They can use that same tech to make SARS. And this is just one Israeli Black Ops organization. They have hundreds, if not thousands. So if that's the case, and they're using it to manipulate and control social media, why aren't you concerned about that? Again, it doesn't matter who you are. This notion that they have this free reign to make bot farms where they can attack anybody who criticizes them, like, that's dangerous. And everybody should care. And the funniest thing is, you have Sucker Dick, who's saying, who you can find all kinds of videos where he's bragging about how, they've gone after bot farms out of China. They got rid of 1,000 profiles out of China. They got rid of 800 profiles out of the Philippines. This is out of a country, right? Team Jorge is just one group. There are, again, hundreds, if not thousands of groups just like it that have access to a tech that creates 30,000 bots at any one time. And this was back in 2022. Who knows what they're capable of today? And you haven't seen a single video about Sucker Dick saying how they've eliminated fake profiles, troll profiles, bot farm profiles out of Israel. Not one. And I was thinking of October 7th, not January 6th. Right, because you're stupid, right? You're stupid. Again, no Israelis died on October 7th, nor were they taken hostage. It's literally all just fake bullshit. I mean, just think about it. You're the leader of Hamas, right? You go through all the trouble of taking 200 some hostages because, you put out a memo days, weeks in advance saying you were going to take 200 hostages. But by doing so, already that if you do anything to Israel, if you shoot a rocket into Israeli airspace, they're going to retaliate 100-fold. And it's been happening for years and years and years prior to. Anytime Israel needed to attack something, they would fire a rocket into their airspace, shoot it down, because, they know that where it's going, the agreed upon coordinates, so the Iron Dome can then shoot it down. And then they respond by attacking 10, 15 pre-planned targets. They already had these targets ready to hit. They already had all their jets and bombs and shit fueled up and ready to go. They just needed an excuse, and you just happened to give them an excuse right from the area in which they were talking about. Like, it's just stupid. And at this point, anybody from Palestine or the surrounding areas that doesn't have a full force behind them and somehow is able to procure a fucking multi-thousand-dollar rocket. You know, all these poor peasants who can't fucking, they're not even allowed to bring in lumber. The blockade around Israel, or around Palestine, has kept even lumber from getting to the people because Israel says lumber can be made into weapons. But somehow they're sneaking in rockets, somehow. And of course, on October 7th, Hamas launched 5,000 rockets in the first 20 minutes. That's 4 rockets per second, 20 minutes. There's no footage of it because it all happened so fast. You know, in the most secure area in the world, or in that region, the most videotaped, I'm missing the word here, but the most surveilled area in the region, there's no footage. And they were able to sneak in 5,000 rockets and however many rocket launchers it takes to launch 4 per second. How much does all that cost? How much does 5,000 rockets and enough rocket launchers to launch 5,000 rockets? How much does that cost? Where did they get that money from? And of course, Israel's Iron Dome had a 99% efficiency at the time, shooting everything down. Israel took no damage, no casualties, nothing. The only little shit that you see are these completely manufactured, you know, setups. They had bombs in cars at the middle of an intersection. Blew up, but it didn't hurt anybody, didn't kill anybody. It's all just stupid. But to think Hamas was able to orchestrate this one attack. Of course, they were funded by Iran, right? Because that's what they tell us. And so they launched this attack. They take 200 hostages. The report is that 11, now, it's finally come out now. Like for forever, it was around, it started off at around 1,400. Then it dropped down to around 1,200. Then it went even lower. But now it stands at 1,139. And when you read the reports on it, everybody says the same thing. 1,139 people in Israel died. Not Israelis died. They never say 1,139 Israelis died. It's always people in Israel. Because initially they said that Israel killed around 1,500 Hamas almost immediately after the attack. So when they now say around 1,139 people in Israel died, well, they're telling the truth. You know, they're actually watering it down a little bit. But they're not directly saying Israelis died. They're just saying people in Israel. That's how they do it. But you believe that somehow they were able to initiate, Hamas was able to initiate what would be the genocide. And since then, they haven't been able to do anything else? They've literally been watching as their people are genocided. 300,000 of them have been killed. Fuck your 59,000. 300,000 or so have been killed. Millions displaced. Women, children, you know, all that shit. Mostly women and children. Mostly children, because all the men had already been taken hostage or killed over the previous few years. Do you guys know that Israel had killed at least 240 people prior to October 7th in their illegal nightly raids, where they're killing civilians and taking people hostage? No trial, no nothing. They had killed at least 240. And I say that because I can never remember if it's 243 or 273. And that 2023 was set to be the deadliest year for the Palestinians since 2006. Second only to 2022. which was the deadliest year for the Palestinians since 2006, second only to 2021, and so on. They just kept upping the death toll each year. So if Hamas was real, they would have had the right to defend themselves, at least according to the narrative we're given, right? And all they ended up doing with that October 7th thing is killing their people. They gave the excuse necessary, which Israel has rolled with, and nobody seems to be like calling them out for it. You know, none of the high-ranking people that matter. A bunch of low-level actors might say something. But at the end of the day, if we're not talking about the root of the evil, if we're not talking about what's truly wrong here, then it really doesn't matter. We're just talking distraction. You know, Israel isn't a person. I mean, there are lots of people named Israel, unfortunately. But Israel isn't a person. It's just an idea. It's just a, you know, it has ever-expanding invisible borders. And it's just a place. Israel, the place, isn't doing anything. It's the disgusting cult that inhabits Israel. It's the disgusting cult that controls Hollywood and is constantly caught raping children. It's the disgusting cult that believes that each one of them should have 2,800 Gentile slaves. Right? You don't know these things, or if you do, like it's interesting because if you do, you should be able to have a conversation about it, but for some reason you can't, and now you're desperately trying to get me to talk about other things. You're trying to shoot the messenger. Well, he does this and he does that, and I watch him every day, and he does all these things, and he says a bunch of smart stuff that I can't address, so I just talk about stupid things. Like, it's silly. You know, October 7th is a real thing. It's an event. It's a catalyst. And if I'm wrong, you should easily be able to even address it. I'm the one that's going against the grain. I'm the one that says no Israelis were killed or taken hostage on that day, so you should be able to easily debunk what I'm saying. You can't with any footage, though, I can tell you that. All the footage you see is just stupid. One of my favorite pieces of footage is the people supposedly running away from the gunshots, leaving the music festival. People are getting out of their cars to run through an open field to get away from gunfire. You know, they're cars that can go 90 miles an hour, that are steel all around them, that if you just duck down, you basically have a bulletproof vest on. They get out of their cars to run away from bullets? Like, who's that stupid? You refused to look at any of my questions and kept rambling. When you refuse to engage, we have nothing left but to ridicule. Yep, I'm supposed to engage with this bullshit. Let's see what questions this guy has. Trying to have a convo, bro, but you ignored my questions for 20 minutes. Maybe weed, maybe meth. Yep, these are these questions that I'm ignoring. If the submarines aren't real, again, we're not talking about that, but that's what you want to talk about. Maybe because some of them weren't Israeli. Maybe because some were American or German. What the fuck does that? Pope Silva is responsible for all of this. Are there questions that I'm missing here? Have you compiled this data? Can I see the evidence? We get it, my guy. It's the J's fault. We've been hearing this shit for hundreds of years. You've been alive for hundreds of years? Yeah, see, again, what am I supposed to be over? RVD, yep. I should be reading this guy's bullshit. I should be engaging in these dumbass comments. Right? This is what I've been missing out on. This is like it's obvious why I don't do it. And then when you understand the Team Jorge aspect of things, right? Let's see. Mustard has joined 18 years ago. He's been on YouTube for 18 years and has 0 subscribers. Do you guys think that makes sense? Does it sound like something that makes sense to you guys? So much so that he's a commenter. He's here and he's obviously not someone that sits in the background. He's someone that comments a lot. And yet he has 0 subscribers after 18 fucking years. Because that's believable. Right? Do you get this shit? Do you get what's happening here? Like, I'm not going to be able to find you the evidence that here is a signed document from the President of the United States with the presidential seal, so you can tell that it's real. And it says, I, Donald Trump, support the idea that Guy Williams is actually being infiltrated by Israelis, and they use the Team Jorge. Like, you're not going to find this. This piece of paper doesn't exist. Just like the list. The list doesn't exist. So it requires you to be a touch smarter then. Just a touch. Just a touch. The rambling. He's just rambling. There's one of those provided talking points. Schizophrenic, rambling, smoking weed, this, that, and the other. Like, these are the things that all of these things, everything that they talk about regarding me, I talk about the bigger picture. I don't sit here and talk about myself. I'm not arrogant like that. Right? I'm talking about the bigger picture. Let's talk about something that isn't about me. And these guys are like, no, we want to talk about you. Because we hate you so much that we watch you every day. But we want to talk about you. We're not capable of talking about anything else. I'm smarter than everyone else on here when it comes to this particular thing. Yes, you are correct. And that crybaby bullshit again, like you see it every single day. And I use the same thing, you see it with cops. When you stand up to cops and you know that you have rights, they'll start being, oh, what's the code, right? You know everything, don't you? Like, no, but I know enough. And when it comes to all of this shit, the fact that nobody, ever proves me wrong, let alone even tries to engage in the conversation, that's not how things work. People don't know things about stuff, and they're involved in a conversation, but they talk about other things. There's a conversation going on. They know all about it. They can actually debunk one of the people that's talking. But instead of doing that, they start talking about that person instead. Like, that's just not how conversation works. That's not how debates work. That's not how videos work. That's not how any of this works. However, we do all know that when people can't answer questions, they change the subject. We know that when people feel inferior, they start saying stupid things. And you're seeing just example after example of it. What normal person thinks somebody being online for I've been on YouTube for 18 years and I have no subscribers. Who does that make sense to? And again, this is the same group that doesn't, that won't address any of the Team Jorge stuff, that won't address the genocide stuff, that won't address the pedophile stuff. They seemingly want to talk about shit, but just not the things that I'm talking about. They want to talk about other stuff. Literally, all these people, they could elect one of them to make a live feed, and then they could all go to that live feed and like stroke each other, you know? They could sit there and talk about, because this is what they used to do. I'm sure they still do it. But they could sit there and make a whole page, a whole video about me where they all just stroke each other. Yay, he's so stupid. I don't like what he's saying. I can't debunk it, but I don't like it. Anybody that thinks we should kill pedos is a bad guy. Like it's it's weird knowing like I can stop reading comments and at any point decide to read something and it'll just be some stupid off the wall shit. You know, I know I'm not missing any reasonable, decent arguments because they don't make them. Yeah, I think you either have psychosis or you're just off the rails. Yeah, with all that reading and knowledge that you have, that makes you crazy. You're crazy. You have psychosis if you think we should kill pedophiles. You have psychosis if you think we should stop the genocide. You have psychosis off the rails if you think we should, eliminate the J control scheme. How crazy am I? Who says that shit? I've been saying it for years. The people that come here must be pedophiles. Because who else is going to, put in so much effort and energy into someone like me? They're going to make fake pages. If I block one of their pages, they just make a new one just so they can watch me. And I call them a pedo and they don't disagree or deny it. Like, how does that even make sense to anyone? How many among you find somebody talking about pedos and try to shut them down? Like, it's not a thing. It's not a thing that non-pedo people do. Just like how non-pedos couldn't possibly still support Trump. If you support Trump, you have some pedo shit going on. And it's a simple, litmus test there. Like, if you can overlook the fact that at the very least, he's guilty of covering for a pedo, but it's pretty fucking circumstantially. Like you're not going to find the video of Donald Trump raping a girl. Just like you're not going to find the video of, or the document saying that I'm right. You're not going to find that. They didn't make a video. Maybe they did, but you're not going to find that shit. But all the circumstantial evidence that's there. I mean, they literally brought out COVID to stop this whole thing from happening. They played the COVID card. Not saying COVID was real or anything, but they literally, on May 2nd, 2020, Trump was scheduled to have an examination because he was being charged with the rape of Katie Johnson. And he needed to be examined, and he was supposed to report to this facility to have a full examination of his body and then get his fluids and all that to test against apparently some leftovers that still exist. Who knows? Did you guys know about that? Did anyone hear that? You don't believe me, huh? Let's see. March 2nd, 2020. Let's see if I can find it. Here's the headlines. 10 things you need to know about today. March 2nd. Number 1, Buttigieg ends his presidential campaign out of the blue. They all just ended. Buttigieg was doing well. He just ended it. Trump sets up screening for travelers from countries hit by coronavirus. Coronavirus continues to spread in countries outside China. Pence defends Trump, allies who accuse Democrats of politicizing coronavirus. Judge says Cuccinelli appointment invalid. Biden-Sanders claim momentum ahead of Super Tuesday. Turkey retaliates for airstrike with attacks on Syrian forces. Israelis vote in third election in a year. This is different. South Korea says North Korea launched 2 identified projectiles. Oh, okay, so let's see. Where the fuck is it? What the fuck? I can't believe I can't find this. I mean, I guess I can. I read it, and then it disappears. That's not really that shocking. Donald Trump's sexual misconduct allegations. Let's see here. Since the 1970s, this is a locked up page too. Since the 1970s, at least 25 women have publicly accused Donald Trump of rape, kissing, and groping without consent, looking under women's skirts, and walking in on naked teenage pageant contestants. Trump has denied all these allegations. But no, I mean, as far as the teenage pageant allegations, he fucking admitted it. He was on Howard Stern, right? And he was like, "Yeah, because I own it, because I'm the owner of the pageant. I get to walk into the dressing rooms anytime I want to and inspect things." He has a history of insulting and belittling women when speaking to the media and on social media. He has made lewd comments about women, disparaged their physical appearance, and referred to them using derogatory epithets. In 2016, 2 days before the second presidential debate with Hillary Clinton, a 2005 hot mic recording surfaced in which Trump was heard saying that when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything, grab them by the pussy. The incident's widespread media exposure led to Trump's first public apology during the campaign and caused outrage across the political spectrum. In 2025, Trump's past friendship with Jeffrey Epstein received significant media attention following his administration's refusal to release files related to Epstein, despite Trump's 2024 election campaign promise to do so, along with, lowering the gas prices and lowering the food prices and ending the wars with one phone call. Like, it's really strange how the Trumpanzees just allow it, He flat out lied to you. It's been proven time and time again. But because he represented racism, homophobia, and sexism, that was something you enjoyed, and that represented you. So you allowed all those other things. The fact is, now he represents pedophilia. And as someone who represents pedophilia, I don't understand why he's still even in office. Until this all gets sorted out, he should be removed from his position. If you're the manager at McDonald's and suddenly all these accusations come out about you, you're going to get removed from your position. Why isn't Trump being removed from his position? Stop talking about Trump. I want to talk about submarines. Stop it. Stop talking about Trump. Come on. Stop. Talk about something else, anything else. Don't talk about Trump. Come on. That's what you see. Instead of all of his ardent fucking supporters coming out and being like, yeah, fuck that guy. He fucking lied to us. We overlooked his lies, but then this is just too much. I can't support the guy that's the pedophile, blah, blah, blah. You would think that's what they would do. You'd think that's what they would say. Apparently that's not it. No? It's just so weird. And like I said, I've been I've been saying it for years that the people that come through my page are pedos. That's the only people I can imagine that are so motivated by what I have to say. So terrified of someone like me, of me getting a position of power or even just a platform where I'm heard by thousands and hundreds of thousands of people. I have a normal truther page. I'm allowed to have the same numbers a normal truther is. By the way, if you're watching, like, share, and sub. Shit helps. But you would think, like, whoa, check that out. Lots of little ants killed the giant worm. That's a great metaphor for what's going on. We are the small little ants, and as one, we can't take down that giant worm. But if we work together, we can have a nice little meal. Look at the weirdos on here, right? You're essentially admitting that you're a pedophile. You're essentially admitting that you support this, you're not bothered by this. Like, to me, we could be friends for 30 fucking years. You could be my best friend. You could be my kid. I find out my kid has fucking child exploitation images on his phone. I'm calling the police. You know, I don't care who you are. If I know that you're doing something and I can prove it, I'm going to do everything I can to get you dealt with. And I don't understand who doesn't think that way, right? Who doesn't, like you being associated with pedophilia doesn't automatically remove you from the friend list. Who thinks that way? And the thing is, I ask these questions all the time. And they never actually say anything. These are the people that are clearly on that side. So why don't they explain it? Why don't they explain how they can overlook all of this Trump association and just keep going, keep supporting him? Why are they here on the page where the guy's, mission statement is that we kill pedos? We eliminate the connection to Israel and the J control and use all that $3.8 billion a year plus to fund a proper government pedophile hunter program. Hire Alex Rosen, hire Pop Squad, hire all these people to do the job that they haven't been able to do, apparently. And actually, start catching these people and eliminating them. Who doesn't think we should kill pedos? Who thinks there's another solution for pedos? I'd love to hear it. Look at all this shit. Look at these comments. Definitely not a fan of pets. I don't see why you would go throwing that accusation around blindly. I'm not blindly throwing it. I'm providing you my evidence. You're a Trump supporter? What's your reason for being here? That's the biggest thing. If you're here and you're here in a negative light, you're here to disrupt, you're here to talk shit, you're here to do whatever, what's your motivation? Literally, you could be doing it. I mean, it's Sunday morning. You could be sleeping in. You could be banging a chick or a dude if that's what you like. You could be watching anything on TV, anything on your phone, your Hulu, your fucking Fire Stick. You could be playing video games. You could be watching someone that you like and engaging with like-minded people on how you can make the world a better place. You could be doing anything like that. And instead you're here and you're talking shit. So what's the motivation there? Let's see, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we have a Trump 2020 person, apparently. We have a Trump supporter. Again, a proud pedo. The issue being that I don't think people realize... Oh, here we got schizo ramblings. There's that talking point. I think people don't realize just how prominent the pedophile thing is. Right? I think they get some weird validation from it. No, well, what makes more sense? What if you took your Occam's razor to it and you sliced it all up? What would be the thing that pops out? Does it make more sense that they are, you know, just some regular people who are obsessed with me and get some sort of validation from being acknowledged? Or that it's Team Jorge Act IO. It's actually an effort made by the people I'm talking about. You know, the one thing that you have to understand is how many pedophile hunters does each one of you know of on Facebook alone or on YouTube alone? Right? You don't want me as an enemy. Just chill, homie. Hey, go fuck yourself, you pedo weirdo. You sick piece of shit. Get the fuck out of here. Give a fuck about you, you goddamn weirdo clown. Fucking like I give a shit. I don't want some pedo as an enemy. Of course I do. I want all of the pedos as my enemies. Fuck you guys. But notice how, again, there's no reasoning here. We have some arrogant piece of shit who thinks I'm only talking about him. I'm responding to your comment. But to me, if you're here just talking shit, doing whatever you're doing, trying to interfere in the feed that's main stated purpose is to kill pedos, you know, you have to wonder what the fuck your motivation is. And the fact that I can ask you what your motivation is and you change the subject, you start talking about something else. Again, I don't expect you guys to come in here and be like, yeah, we're pedos and we don't like what you're doing. And, you know, I don't expect that to happen. You pedos are so used to living in the shadows. You know, you're the ones that know how to operate the internet, so you have all these fake profiles and secret, you know, secret accounts and all this shit. That's what I'm saying. So if you look at how many people you know alone that are pedo hunters just on YouTube, there are some people that aren't on YouTube and they're on other platforms. There are some people that are on all the platforms. You know, there are pedo hunters that you know of, and then there are small time pedo hunters. You know, there are all sorts of pedo hunters readily available on YouTube. And these guys are catching people every day, every 2 days. Sometimes they're catching multiple people in a day, depending on how big their network is. And every single one of them will tell you it's not like it's hard to do. Literally, they post the profile of the 12, 13-year-old girl, whatever it may be, and almost immediately they're getting hit up. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? What are you doing? Hey. And literally anybody that reaches out to a kid like that, you know, Johnny, 13, anybody that sees the profile picture and I mean, even if you thought, like, if you're in your 30s, your 40s, your late 20s, and you see somebody that's a teenager and you reach out to talk to them, that's fucking weird. What could you possibly have to talk to teenagers about? Like, it'd be one thing if you were like, I have a product that I'm trying to market to this age group or something. Yeah, well, there's gonna be those. But if you're like, no, I'm just looking for some conversation, that's fucking weird. And every one of those pedo hunters will tell you that what they catch is like a 1% of the amount of people that hit them up. It's such a small percentage of the population that actually has enough compulsion that they'll act on it. It's not balls, it's compulsion. They're just sick. They want it so bad that they, you know, it's obvious that they're talking to a non-kid. Obvious. Obviously, they're talking to like an adult with the way the person's talking. And yet they still go. That's compulsion. That's not, you know, he doesn't have the balls. He's a coward to begin with. But there are, for every one that's caught, there are thousands that don't get caught. And one of the biggest businesses out there, one of the biggest businesses online is the trade in child exploitation materials. Horrible videos of babies getting raped and shit. Like, it's unreal what they talk about. It's one of the main reasons why I couldn't do that gig. Because you're gonna accidentally see shit you just can't unsee. Even if it's just the thumbnail, to see that shit in a thumbnail would be, I'm just glad I don't have to deal with that. I applaud those that are able to wade through all that bullshit and catch these people, because that's you know, those images stick with you. I don't know how you delete them. But understand that you know, the hundreds and thousands of people that will hit up these profiles. If you're standing where I'm standing in your front yard and you just look back and forth, I can see maybe 30 houses. I'm confident in saying at least 15 of the 30, at least, have a search history that they don't want you seeing. Have some saved folder or some shit that they don't want people knowing they have. It's that common. It's everywhere. So when you're someone like me who has been, for as long as I've been doing this, the main goal has always been to kill pedos. We need to change the legislation. We need to change the rules and shit. Like, for some reason that need to be changed. Why do these rules even need to be changed? Shouldn't they say these things already? Who made them so lax to begin with? But I've been saying this for well over a decade, 2 decades. A decade on live social media feeds. You won't find a video of mine where we're not That's not the main goal. And so when you look at the fact that I do this so openly, so proudly, so consistently for such a long time. Will you take this? Please.
I think it's still there.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a big worm. What's up, big perm? I mean, big worm? When you look at who is going to be motivated by me, it's either people that agree with me or it's people that don't agree with me. And I don't know too many situations where people don't agree with someone, so then they just obsess over them. Watch them for hours, day after day, month after month, make fake profiles when the one profile gets blocked. Like, that shit's just strange to me. It's not something I can even begin to relate to on a normal level. Like, I can understand it when it's Team Jorge, when it's the system trying to keep tabs, or when it's pedos. The people who are used to working behind the scenes with fake profiles and shit like that, who, you know, there's a video of Alex Rosen's of Gordon Flowers where he goes to this shop. He tries to do the catches live. He tried to do that for a little bit. But even when he doesn't go to like a shop or something, if he goes live, within a few minutes, somebody watching knows the person getting busted and calls them to or figures out who they are and starts calling them, telling them what's going on, telling them they're getting busted. There's a video where Gordon goes to this I don't know, like Bombay company type store where they sell, you know, foofy knickknacks and shit. And it's this super gay guy. And within minutes of him being at the store's phone is ringing off the hook. And it's people telling him, run, dude, run. You're being set up, blah, blah. And Gordon, Alex, is looking at the camera going, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you calling this guy? Why is anyone trying to protect this guy? But this happens like almost immediately. And you have to think, like, his audience is decent size, but it's not like 1 million people are watching. You know, it's a few hundred, few thousand. And out of those few hundred, few thousand, the phone is ringing off the hook. Multiple people will be calling. The chances that they actually know the guy are kind of slim. There's something else going on there. And so the idea that the pedo networks that are out there, that they have some sort of setup in place to look for people that oppose them and try their best to interfere, I mean, that makes sense. It's a huge business. Especially once you get up to the human trafficking levels. This is a huge business. Let's see if anyone is actually going to address anything being said. The difference between agreeing or not, but when you blatantly make shit up with no evidence or acknowledge it makes you a bad person. Don't know what you're talking about. They rode him on a stream powered train hub and a caboose and the horse and the train. I mean, this is just stupid. This is the stuff that I ignore, right? They're talking about going on, like, again, these guys are talking about weird shit. Like, you know how when you hear the Pizzagate emails and they're like, yeah, we get 30,000 worth of hot dogs, and this person, they're going to go in the pool. And, you know, they just talk in this weird code-like way where these aren't the conversations that normal people have, especially when you're thinking like this is on a profile, a live feed where we're literally talking about how do we kill pedos, and let's expose this shit. Let's figure out how we can change the law, kill pedos, Trump's, you know, all this shit. And these guys are talking about wanting to go on trains. You don't think that's weird? They don't address why they're here. I keep telling you guys. Simple question, why are you here? If you disagree with me, if you hate what I'm doing and all these other things, why are you here and desperately trying to change the subject? We have more talking points, schizophrenia. Do you really think there are that many people out there that are stupid? And one, think schizophrenia is a joke. But two, misuse it all the time like that? They're going to say the same dumb shit? Who the fuck is going to oppose me? And why? Every time I pass this weird mofo, he's always saying the word pedophile. Yep. Every time you pass, it's not like you sit here for hours on end begging for attention. Anybody that thinks it's weird to want to end the pedophilia, again, who says shit like that? You're eating chat backwards, you're rambling about 50 things. Yep, see? Again, anything but addressing what's being said. For evidence of schizophrenia is no joke. You don't even understand what schizophrenia is. Read the chat in order, not backwards. Yep, look at all this shit. Look at all this shit. This makes sense to people. These people are sufficiently convincing you that they're not pedos. Right? What I'm saying is crazy, and these people are, they're like, we're not pedos. We're not Israeli bots and shit. We're just weirdos who are obsessed with you. That's the other option there. You're just weirdos who are obsessed with me. You know, the ones that say, well, we watch you on mute sometimes. That's some weird shit. Crowd of adoring fans to rally behind him. Yeah, because I'm all about me, right? And you are correct. It's shocking to me how talking about pedophilia brings multiple fake profiles that will keep coming back and refusing to acknowledge it or downplaying it. Yes, everybody and their mom should be endorsing kill pedos. Oh, look, we all know that Benji has been here before. Benji knows the rules. So Benji flies the pedo flag and Benji says goodbye. We don't do that. I'm not sure, and I don't mind the war against pedophiles. I also don't support Israel. The stream randomly came on for me. I didn't seek you out. That said, I hope you're in touch with a doc. Right, so that's supposed to be believable, right? So you randomly found somebody that is saying things that you agree with, but I should still talk to a doctor because I'm crazy. Makes sense. Totally makes sense. You know, if a random video pops on your page, because my kids do that shit. My kids will watch things and they'll just randomly go by. But they don't find shit like with somebody saying we should kill pedos and then jump on and talk shit. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. What did you title your live stream? Yeah, the name of the show is one. I know you don't understand titles. You buy tickets to a Smashing Pumpkins concert and you're mad because they're playing music and not up on stage smashing pumpkins. You go to the Shell gas station to buy seashells because you don't understand. It's a fucking Shell logo. What are you talking about? It says Shell. Don't you guys sell shells here? Right? You're stupid like that. Especially where it says the name and then it says part and then it says another thing. And the thing is, let's just say this video was initially about submarines, right? If I got onto the topic of we should kill pedos, for you to be like, hey, I don't like that. Go back to talking about the other thing. That again says a lot about you. Like this is just, I only point this out for the people that are on the fence. We both know who you are, right? We both know that you're this piece of shit, you know, either bot or pedo, one of the two. We know that. But there are people who aren't saying anything, who may not understand, might be kind of wondering, like, what the fuck is going on here? This isn't your typical truther feed. You don't see feeds like this anywhere. All I'm saying is, he accused a lot of people of pedophilia, but yeah, he has kids and does drugs around, and we have never seen his house looks like a trap out. Trap house, yes. Yes, the trap house in the middle of this neighborhood. Yep. This is one of those trap house neighborhoods with the American flags on the, yeah, gotcha. And I've said this time and time again. See, look at these lame ass excuses. This person literally typed all that out, but doesn't type out anything like, fuck no, I'm not a pedo. I hate pedos. They should all die. I don't like you because of this. So that's why I spend hours every day watching you. Like, they don't say anything like that. He can type all the other shit, but he can't give any legitimate reasons as to why he's here. This happens so frequently, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And the thing is, if I were to smoke all the crack, eat all the meth, shoot all the dope, drink all the booze, I hit my wife, I beat my kids, I kicked my dog, I did all these horrible things, would that take away from the fact that we should kill pedos? Would that take away from the fact that we should stop the genocide that's taking place right now? The starvation of an entire population by the group that believes themselves to be supremacy, like Semitism. Does anything I do, because see, again, you have to love how these fucking fake clowns keep trying to bring focus to me when I'm talking about a bigger picture. Again, it's either you're just really obsessed with me or you're working. And you have talked all you have talked about is pedos. You never acknowledge what used to draw people to your stream. Oh, right, because there are so many people out there just really thinking about submarines and whether they're real or not. Dude, do yourself a favor. Create a Submarines Are Real podcast, and you'll be rich and famous, right? All of these people out there so interested in submarines that when I say, well, go watch the first 9 parts, Submarines Aren't Real, part 1 through 9, when we actually talk about it, they won't do that. They won't go watch those parts. They know that this feed today is about this thing. Whether it's titled one thing or another, let's just say again, we were talking about submarines, but we got onto this topic. For you to be like, I don't want to, no, I'm not even going to admonish it. I'm just going to say, change the subject. Talk about submarines. I came here to talk about submarines. Like, it's just fucking stupid. It's so stupid. And it's so telling to me. And I appreciate it. I you know, Do you know how much different it would be if I was just talking about these things and nobody was here? Nobody was here playing the role that I need played? You know, if I was sitting here talking about how there's all these weird fake profiles that come to my feed and basically defend pedophilia, you know, defend genocide, do everything they can to talk about everything but change the subject, do all that, and nobody was here doing it, I would look nuts. Nobody would believe me. But the fact that there are so many profiles that say the same fucking dumb 5 things and can't seem to figure this out, like it's so telling. You know, it doesn't get any better than this. This is better than even if people were here agreeing with me. Because people can agree with you for whatever reason. They could just like you, so they agree with you. But when you know that these people are here for negative purposes, they're here to disrupt. They're here to distract and change subjects and do all that shit. They're here to talk shit. And this is the best that they can come up with? Like, it's just, it's so validating. You know, to be the person that's openly going against the grain and talking about the things we're not supposed to talk about and, you know, all these things. And to know that, again, there's very, very unlikely that you're going to find, I mean, I say it's unlikely that you're going to find evidence to back it up like a fish, but you're not going to find the evidence that's like titled, "You're right about this thing, here, look at this." But when you look at the narrative you're given, it does nothing but prove it right. It proves that you should be questioning things. You know? All the people that talk shit about chemtrails. You put in chemtrails into the Google machine. The thing that pops up is Wikipedia saying chemtrail conspiracy theory. The first sentence is chemtrails are the erroneous conspiracy theory that blah, blah, blah. And they describe chemtrails for the first 2 sentences. And by the 3rd sentence, they're giving you examples of chemtrails. Stratospheric aerosol injection, marine cloud brightening, weather modification, cloud seeding. It's all just right there. They deny it. The page is about denying it, but then the actual substance of the page tells you that the fucking, it's very, very well, you know, it's dropping something out of a plane is something we've been able to do for a really long time. You know, it doesn't matter what you look up. You'd be shocked, right? You'd be shocked by how you think one way and it's all right there. It's all easy to do. It's all easy to find. If I say Israel controls Wikipedia, well, I can easily show you a video. And then I can show you the Wikipedia entry where they brag that Israel controls social media. And that they use a sophisticated bot network that can generate, in 2022, could generate up to 30,000 bots at one time to attack any one target. And where the bots fall short, they have a civilian program that rewards civilians for doing this exact thing. Like, I'm doing my best to provide you as much evidence as I can. And it's interesting how they never, ever address any of it. It's instantly subject change. It's instantly, you know, shit talk. Any American, if you say to them, do you know that Wikipedia, or that Israel controls your Facebook page, and if you speak out against Israel, you're going to get fucked with? And most people will already say, yeah, we already knew that. But they're not going to be all nonchalant about it. They're going to say, why isn't this system being dealt with? You know, if I say to you, Israel controls Wikipedia, first of all, you're probably not going to believe me. But then when I show it to you, then it becomes Wikipedia isn't a good enough source. Like there's a better option. Wikipedia is a great source because it's the perspective that Israel wants you to know. And then there's always the links, the references to whatever the article is that's, you know, that's being summarized by the Wikipedia article. But to pretend like, you know, like the information I'm providing isn't good enough compared to the nothing that you guys provide. I'm literally using their source against them. I'm not quoting Alex Jones and shit like that. That dude's a fucking, the definition of controlled opposition. He shouldn't be getting a pass like he is. Alex Jones, like this whole thing about Trump and Epstein and the pedophilia and all that, it's interesting how it's being talked about so frequently. And the people talking about it act like they're the good guys because they're talking about it. But the reality is, all of this has been going on for years. You could have been talking about all this for years, demanding answers and all that. Even though it wasn't in the popular news cycle, you could have had a segment, the Colbert Show, the TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome, the Daily Show. They could have had a segment every day, 5 minutes to where are the Epstein files? Where are the Epstein tapes? The tapes that were found in his location. They could have easily been doing that. All those programs, they're not at all talking about Israel. They're not at all talking about the plight of the Palestinians. And they might every once in a while, but they don't. And none of this shit's new. You know, you'd think at the very least the trolls that are here every day would be so sick of hearing me say the same shit every day. Apparently they're not, but he don't smoke meth. Yeah, weed. Yeah. I'm smoking big old meth blunts. Do you realize, like, with as much as I smoke, if I was smoking meth, I would be fucking out of my mind. I'd be shaking and tweaking and all that shit. Do you know how expensive all that meth would be? All the meth that I supposedly smoke would be? They're prepping the people like COVID. Well, I mean, the next round is coming. It's going to be called SEERS this time, SEERS. It'll be hitting this winter. I hope everybody's ready for that shit. That's why we have all 5 of these badass. Yeah, big ass floods going on. Yeah, these floods are crazy. Oh, what's up, dude? If you actually did meth, you'd be dead. That's true. Somebody's jumping up. Meth is the cheapest drug. No, heroin's the cheapest drug. Heroin's really cheap. And you'd think that would be the way they would go, right? Like, knowing my personality, knowing that I'm not all like shaking and full of energy, I'm really laid back. You'd think they would have been like, he's doing heroin. You'd think that they would have been smart enough to say that all these years. Nope. My old ex-friend overdosed on 0.5 gram in one sitting, less than an hour. Shit's crazy. Shit is crazy. Sorry. Look at this shit. Look at how, again, if I talk about heroin, suddenly these people who don't seem to be able to comment on what I'm saying start talking up. But as soon as the subject switches back to we should kill pedos, Trump supporters are clearly pedos, the people on here talking shit are clearly pedos, blah, 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 they just instantly shut down again. Yep, I'm lost. I think we should kill pedos. I think we should stop the genocide. I think we should eliminate the J control scheme because I'm lost. It's interesting, man. It's really interesting how this works. Trump does have some good policies, though. Deportation is a must. So you're leaving, white guy? Deportation is a must. Because it's those darn Mexicans that are making this country. It's not white people who are committing the majority of the crimes. It's those darn Mexicans who are, they took our jobs. You know, you got all those white people lining up to pick strawberries, and the Mexicans are like, we'll do it cheaper. So that's how that works. And it's always interesting how it's the fault of the person that's willing to do the work, the shitty labor job, for enough money to keep the prices down for us to enjoy them. You know, a thing of strawberries isn't 18 bucks. Those are the problem. Those people are the problem, not the companies that hire them. Deporting the illegals. Oh, right, the illegals. Because they put you in so much danger. I used to have a guy that would come on here all the time and be like, the biggest issue is that we need to start taxing these 30 million illegals that are here. First of all, how could you possibly know how many illegals are here? But secondly, taxing 30 million illegals on the meager salary they make anyway is nothing compared to the $3.8 billion lump sum cash payment we give Israel every first month of the fiscal year. They get a cash payment, a lump sum with no restrictions, no, you know, there's no watching, there's no, here, just get the pack, I'll get you one. If you get the pack in a jar, I'll make it. Right? Like, it's not even close. And the $3.8 billion a year is just the base amount. They get it in the first fiscal month of every year so they can milk us for the rest of the year. You know? And they get just billions and billions of dollars. And anytime they say Israel bought $15 million worth of weapons from the United States, they didn't pay for shit. They didn't even have to give us our money back to get it. There are grants and all kinds of bullshit like that set aside to provide Israel with weapons. There are things like the memorandums of understanding that say that Israel is to have the mightiest military in that region, and it's up to the United States to make sure that happens. So when they deplete all their resources from bombing a whole bunch of civilians, we have to then provide them with the bombs to replace them. It's fucking insane. Along with 47, we gave them 20. 47 million we gave the Taliban weekly for years. Yeah, maybe. You know, when it comes to all that shit, you never really know. But you know, we've given Israel trillions of dollars when you add in all this stuff. And then there's the other part of it too. There's the shit like the Abraham Accords, which are Trump's big legacy. Trump's main legacy is the Abraham Accords, which are a bunch of normalization deals, whatever the fuck that means, signed between countries, Arab countries and Israel, guaranteeing Israel's safety and guaranteeing that the country doesn't interfere if Israel were to ever, I don't know, start killing a bunch of people in a genocide. And in order to facilitate those arrangements, the people hate it. The people of these countries like Qatar and Bahrain and all that, they hate these deals because they don't see any good from it. It's the people at the top that get all the benefit from it. And yet, and again, it's there's a bunch of shit, but it's mainly capped off by the idea that country's government pledges to not use its military against Israel in any way, shape, or form. And in order to do that, in order to agree to that, the United States foots the bill. The United States is who pays whatever the thing is that's necessary to get that bill signed. And a lot of times, there are provisions where they now get money every year. They now get, equipment every year. And then, because of that original memorandum of understanding that says Israel is to have the mightiest military, if we give, say, Bahrain 20 F-35 fighter jets so they play nice with Israel, we then have to give Israel 35 F-35 fighter jets to offset the fact that we gave Bahrain fighter jets to play nice with Israel. It's just... And again, this is like politics, this is government. This is the shit that most of you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. You might watch some Fox News bullshit every once in a while. You might even watch it every day. So you're real good on what they want you to know. But all you have to do is look this shit up. And if you start looking this shit up and you start seeing the actual narrative by which, things are how things work, how all this shit works behind the scenes, you'd just be shocked. You'd be shocked. I know everything I say. I'm not trying to, I'm calculated. I'm sick like that. I'm calculated. In that I'm not going to give you the easy out. I'm not just going to say some shit not knowing whether it's true or not, so then you can say, oh, see, I told you, you were wrong about this, you were wrong about that. Like, I don't do that. I'm well versed in everything I'm talking about. And my knowledge base is what they want us to know. Yep, I'm hooked on crack because I'm not racist against the fucking Mexicans. You knew that was a white guy.
High on crack?
Huh? Right.
I mean,
Crack or meth. Like I say, why don't they say I'm on heroin? Wouldn't that fit better? My laid back personality, not all, crazy. Like, that would at least work, but crack...
heroin addicts don't taste like they do.
Some of them, I mean, you can't say all of them don't. But I'm saying, compared to what those other drugs do, like if I smoked as much as I smoke, if it was crack or meth, do you know how insane I would be?
Oh, you would sound like
Like one dude said I'd be dead.
probably, yeah.
And how many people do you know that smoke big old crack blunts? I've never even heard of that.
I didn't think you could sprinkle crack in a blunt even.
Right, it's not hot enough. You need that torch over the fucking, the chore boy. But like that shit has to get hot as fuck. So a blunt's not going to be hot enough.
No.
Even a regular lighter and a pretty fucking weed pipe isn't going to work.
No.
Do you need it?
No, I'm gonna take it.
But this is, you know, this is all they have. The dumb white guy who's clearly a racist, he says, we need to deport the illegals. And immediately, you know it's a white guy. You know he has a tiny penis. You know he's, you know, typical. All the other stuff was all right. You know, the Israel stuff is all right. I was right about that stuff. But as soon as I you know, challenged that white man's supremacy, boy, am I wrong. When I suggested that as a white man, he probably leave, you know, deporting the immigrants. It's the illegals. Yeah. My grandparents had sex here. So then my parents had sex here. Like my mom and dad had lots of sex. I hear my mom liked it doggy style. But my parents had sex here, so that means I have rights that other people don't. Meh. You couldn't pass the citizenship test. Most people couldn't. Look, we have a spammer. Is the point to try to get yourself blocked so then you can say, like, he was scared, he blocked me? Like, what do you think is going to come from spamming? This is just so interesting to me. And like I keep saying, it's not like you're going to have these people come in and acknowledge who they are. You know, not one of these people will tell you why they're here to begin with. What has them so upset that they're here and they're trying to desperately talk shit and interfere with the guy that says we should kill pedos and stop the J control scheme and the genocide and stop the control of our lives? Who's going to be mad about that? I'm born here. I won't pass the citizen test. Exactly. Nobody will. None of you will. None of you people whose parents had sex, so you think you're special somehow. None of you can pass the test. Guarantee it. Here you go. I'm here to change the subject. All right, so we have one person that's at least admitting that they're here to change the subject. What about one? Come on, the rest of you. Let's see. Is anybody know about the war between Russia and Ukraine? Is anybody know about that? Who cares? You want to talk about the war in Ukraine? That's a tentacle. You can cut the tentacle off, but the monster's still there. If you want to end the war in Ukraine, you really want to fix that situation, we have to cut the head off the monster. I'm here because I love Jesus. Yeah, well, this is the place for it. Because, you know, that Jewish fairy tale you like so much makes a whole bunch of sense. And the thing is, you'll say that, but you don't know your shit. So how embarrassing is that? You can't win a debate against somebody who doesn't believe in what you believe, but knows more about it than you do. I just got here. I don't know the subject. I bet if you waited 5 minutes, you'd know. Oh, so you're Y-O-U-R, the main character. Honestly, just scrolling and you sounded like a D-bag, so I figured I'd stop by. Oh, so what you do is you look through, scroll through YouTube looking for douchebags who are talking about we should kill pedos and stuff like that. Ugh, those terrible people. And then you come in here and say, hey, I'm one of the people who doesn't agree. That's your thing? Yep. Of course, the Christian is going to just repeat dumb fucking, they saw a sign. Sign said, Christ is real. Christ is real. Christ is real stupid. It's a stupid, stupid fairy tale, and it's embarrassing that people still cling to that shit. It's 2025 and you still believe that bullshit? 15 people watching, but not making a difference. I love the idea of like, so what do you think censored looks like? Do you think censored looks like 1,000 people? 10,000 people? What's your idea of censored? I pray. You pray? P-R-E-Y? Like you're hunting for me to find Jesus? Is that what you're saying? You hunt for me to find Jesus? Let me ask you this. If you believe that prayer actually works, even the tiniest little bit, in your arrogant, stupid fucking mind, why aren't you only praying that the church stops raping children? Me personally, I don't need to find Jesus. I'm not real worried about it. What I am worried about is that your church, the highest form of Jesus worship, is constantly caught raping children, and your God seems to do nothing about it. Along with the genocide that's taking place, don't forget that, because a lot of the people involved in the genocide are Christians. If you're really arrogant enough to believe in prayer, then that's what you should be praying for. Be humble. That's not our church. You're all just dumb Catholics. You realize that, right? If you are any sort of Christian, you're a dumb Catholic. You're just a Catholic who is, whose parents were arrogant and thought they knew better than the people providing the fairy tale. So they decided that they were going to be this instead. They made up their own little goofy thing. That's basically the same. It just has, some slight differences, but it's all the same shit. And at the end of the day, all three, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, are known as the Abrahamic religions because they all come from Abraham. And Abraham is the father of the J people. And the thing is, it's funny, like, that's not our church. Isn't it the same God, though? Aren't we talking about the same God that is literally watching this close, has this super close view, even closer view of children being raped by clergy? Do you think those children are praying, P-R-E-Y-I-N-G, praying that God helps them? That God saves them? It's the fucking 50th time this shit's happened and there's still no God saving them? How come in the history of all of Goddom, all the different denominations that think they're right, not one time in the history of things has a cop been driving down the street doing his patrol through a neighborhood when suddenly Jesus appears in the seat next to him and tells him to stop the car. Go kick in that door. I know you don't have a warrant, but go kick in that door. There's a pedo ring going on. And the cop, okay, Jesus, goes and kicks in the door, saves 20 some children, saves 5 children, saves 2 children, saves whatever it is from a pedophile nightmare. Never, not once in the history of any of your silly gods and Jesuses and denominations and all these other bullshits, not once has your God done anything even close to that. Isn't it funny how, like, this is, morning. This is the reality of things. This is the belief structure. This is, we're talking about reality. In reality, this has never happened. In reality, the church is the most guilty pedophile organization in the world. If I say pedophile and the word priest doesn't immediately come to your head, you're lying. I mean, just think about it. Just think about what we're talking about here. And of course, it's the same people, right? Every time you see one of these pedos get busted, they're not like, oh man, I'm an atheist. I don't think I'm ever gonna, I don't have to worry about God's judgment. It literally never is said. Every single time these guys are like, oh please, I'm a good Christian and all this other, They always are they religious. Back when they were originally doing it, they kept catching Jews in the sting. Disproportionate amounts. If you catch 20 people and 7 of them are one group, and that one group only makes up 2 to 3% of the United States population, that really says a lot. Interesting how Takedown with Chris Hansen, its last like 4 free episodes, have been the worst kind of episode, where the guy getting caught is an illegal Mexican who doesn't speak English. So the whole thing is like Chris doing this really bad Spanish, and it just doesn't go anywhere. It's such a poor episode choice as far as content goes. However, if you're trying to appeal to racist white people, well, which, white people make up 69% of the United States population, unless you take out those with Hispanic in their backgrounds who only consider themselves white, then it's just 55. But white people make up 69% of the population, the vast majority being racist. What's your belief? You have to believe in something. Do I? Do I have to believe in some sort of sky daddy? Think about that. Think about that mentality, right? That person thinks, like, you have to, I believe in something stupid. This is the person that, you start talking about Trump and they're like, oh, so you're a Biden supporter? I believe one side, so you have to believe the other side then, right? The mentality to think like, you can survive without believing in a sky daddy? How do you do it? You have to believe in something. I believe in man. I believe we are really, really incredible creatures, capable of doing shit well beyond our wildest dreams, and the evidence exists all over the place. The supposed Tartaria stuff. You look up all the, go to any major city that you live near and go walk around and find the oldest skyscrapers in that city. And you're talking about late 18s, early 19s. And they're ornate top to bottom, inside and out, in ways that we couldn't even imagine doing today. Clearly we were capable of doing something. Just go look at all the fucking subway systems and underground plumbing systems and waterways, channels, and all these things that exist that we just completely overlook. The Erie Canal story. Have you seen how ridiculous that narrative is? These lawyers just got together and decided to build the Erie Canal and create a new kind of concrete that we really don't even understand what it is yet to this day. But the Erie Canal is one of those ones that we just, oh yeah, the Erie Canal, that's huge and scary. Like that seems impossible. What about, like, go look at Chicago and the Chicago waterways. Who did all that? When did they do all that? How did they do all that? How did they tame all that water? The Indiana Bell Building, look up that narrative where they literally turn a building, a big fucking giant skyscraper, they turn it 90 degrees while leaving all of the plumbing and all the services still intact. How? We don't know. They just did it. They did it, and they did it in like 40 days or some shit like that. We are incredible. Even 100 years ago, when you start looking into like World's Fairs, and what, more than 100 years ago at this point, 150, 200, 150, 175 years ago, where you're talking about these World's Fairs and shit that were going on, and the narrative that we're given. I mean, even something as simple as bricks. How are they making? Look at all of the ancient structures that exist that still stand today, that were made of bricks. Where were all these fucking bricks coming from? Who were the brick manufacturers? How are they transporting thousands and thousands of pounds of brick? When were they creating them? How were they creating them? I did a whole video on it one day, and I wish I could remember, but at the peak period, they had this brick manufacturing, like a brickyard after brickyard in this one area of maybe New York. And they said they were producing as many as 1 million bricks per day. And you just think about like how many bricks this is, and how they were firing all these bricks, and they were, what are we talking about? Where did they get all the materials to keep the kilns going? They give us these cute little narratives, but if you start actually like breaking down the narrative and what they're telling you, it never quite makes sense. The oldest brick structure in the world, like 2,000 years old. What? It just doesn't. They were fucking good back then. Have you ever heard of stepwells? They exist all throughout India. The architecture in India, obviously, something else was happening in India that wasn't happening anywhere else. The architecture in India is just mind-blowing. And there's not a human alive that can go to one of these places and see these structures and experience, like the architecture all up close and be like, yeah, we totally could do this. Yeah, I can see how we can make that. The ball is inside the little thing, and it moves up and down, and yeah. Why not? The architecture in India is just, it's unrivaled. I think it's probably the most fascinating place in the world, really. The stepwells, these giant inverted pyramids that they would build that are like geometrically precise down to the fucking millimeter and shit. That I guess don't break in earthquakes and shit. I don't know. It's strange how the stepwells have survived thousands of years that don't, just don't even think about it. For you to think that you have any sort of grasp on any of it is just more arrogant nonsense. The main difference between me and all of the rest of you is I'm not arrogant, and you all are. And I know people would be like, what? You're calling me arrogant? You're the one that doesn't believe what we're told to believe. Yep. I've asked questions, and I've looked into the narratives they want me to have. And instead of getting answers, I got more questions. And it turns out that everything I look into falls into that category. And unlike you, who thinks that they can decipher things, there's some master fucking detective or some shit. They know which stories are true and which stories aren't true. They know that their Jesus story is true, but the Muslim story, that's not true. And then do the Christians believe that the Jewish narrative is true as well, or are you stupid, not understanding where your shit comes from? I'm not really sure about that. But you believe Hindus are all crazy, they're wrong, and Buddhists and all these other things, they're just wrong. Because you, arrogant piece of shit that you are, you know better. Well, you know that Oswald didn't act alone. Oswald didn't kill Kennedy. You know that. They did a study years and years ago. 87% of the population didn't accept the narrative. You're smart enough to know that one's wrong. You're smart enough to question 9/11. You know that they pulled off some crazy bullshit on our TV right in front of us, where the dancing Israelis and the connection to Mossad and Israel is undeniable. You know all these things. But then you believe the narrative that they give you when it comes to history. Like you believe, well, George Washington had to exist. Ben Franklin had to exist because they say he did. You don't choose to not believe that narrative. Like you choose to not believe the JFK narrative or all of you that didn't run out and get your shots, shame on you. The same people that tell you the earth is round and we went to the moon and, terrorists brought the towers down and Israel is the victim right now. Those are the same people telling you you need to get your shots. If you didn't get your shots, then why? You believe the narrative, right? Or is it because you arrogantly think that, well, I don't believe this narrative. I don't believe that narrative. What motivates that? What makes you think you know better than? You do it with everything else. The difference between me and you is I say it's all bullshit. I'm not arrogant enough to think I can pick and choose which one of these false narratives are real and which ones aren't. Yeah, I remember when I was always calling you arrogant, but you just give examples of that arrogance in a joking, obvious way. I love that. I'm glad I snapped back to reality. People don't seem to know what arrogance is. I have a huge ego. Absolutely. I very much believe in myself and the work that I've put into all of this, the education I've done, that I've given myself based off of their reality, and then whether it makes sense or not. It's really simple. It's not like it's some crazy exercise where you have to believe some people in their their special dress, their trench, their lab coats, their religious robes, whatever it is. These people far away from you, who you just have to believe implicitly. They're infallible. There is no questioning that narrative because science says so, or because religion says so, or because politics says so, or whatever. I don't think asking questions is ever the wrong thing to do. So anybody that's then telling you not to ask questions about something that you're told to believe, Well, they're probably trying to manipulate you. Yep, watching YouTube clips. Yep, that's what I do. You'd think if all I did was watch YouTube clips in my mom's basement, then instead of pointing that out, you would be able to pick a single argument I've made and debunk it. Because it's all just dumb YouTube clip bullshit anyway, right? So it should be easy for you to not take the easy way out and say something stupid. You should be able to focus on one thing and be like, dude, you're wrong about this because of this. And then if I disagree with you, it shouldn't even upset you. I don't understand why you would be upset in the first place. If I disagree with you, and then, you should, because I'm wrong, you should then just be able to handle whatever objections I throw your way. And vice versa. If I'm wrong, then do the same thing to me. Point to the things I'm getting wrong, pick it apart, I don't understand why that's such a tough ask of people. You want to come here and watch me read stuff and watch me break shit down and all that. And then your contribution is going to be something stupid. Why? Let's see. Do we have anything good here? I'm always skeptical of shit. You should be. You should be skeptical of everything. Me included. Be skeptical. Ask questions. Debunk whatever I'm saying. I mean, I didn't hear the laptop stirring or anything. What are you talking about? This guy is telling me what I believe thinks I'm the arrogant one. This guy that is telling me what I believe thinks I'm the arrogant one. You sound like my wife, right? You sound like a lady. You telling me what I believe? No. I'm telling you what you're presenting. The only thing I know about you is what you present. So if you present arguments if you're here in the negative to begin with, of course I'm going to question your motivation. The funniest thing is, I can continuously question motivation and nobody gives me any answers. You ask me what motivates me and I have no problem telling you. You're probably going to wish you didn't pull that cord. But these guys that obsess over me, you ask them what their motivation is and they just can't say anything. Oh, we've got a Rosendahl. We've got a pedo. We've got a Matitza Bapay fucking genocide supporter. Like that Matitza Bapay, do ya? Chicken, you can criticize all day. You just can't. So again, we're going to have somebody that's going to claim this thing. This bullshit. Where instead of actually saying things that I'm getting wrong, they're going to tell me how I won't debate. They're going to continue as, oh, well, I did say something a while back, but I can't say it again. Well, if I say something, you're just going to disagree with it. You're just going to deny it. Never mind all the other shit you say that I disagree with or deny. You can say all those things. The only thing you could never seem to do is actually address why you're here, what your motivations are. Isn't that strange? I think the South Park thing was immature, and I don't even watch South Park. I think I didn't see it. I want to see it. Satire is always great. If they rallied on LGBTQ, which isn't like, so when you put things together like LGBTQ and then Democrats, well, Democrats is a choice. Gay stuff, trans stuff, this isn't a choice. And if you think it is, well, then I feel bad for you. Because clearly you have some gay stuff going on in your head that you choose not to act on. And that's got to be hell. I feel bad for you. It obviously turns you into a weird bigot. Biden, Kamala, again, these are just people. This isn't lifestyle stuff. You wouldn't have your right. See, again, this is one of these things where instead of addressing what's being said, they're making up the argument. Oh, you would think this way. You would do this. Well, what about what we're actually talking about? Quit telling me what I would be doing in a hypothetical situation. And let's just focus on what's going on here. But this is how they operate, right? You said it right there. You're told to believe. What are you talking about, you dumbass? Aren't you one of those dumb people who claims your belief structure is a race? Big brother, big brother. I mean, look at this dumb shit again. Instead of being able to address why you're here, Granty. Come on, dumb Jay. What is your motivation for being here? Why are you trying to interfere with the feed that thinks we should kill pedophiles and eliminate your groups, your cult altogether? Stop the genocide and eradicate the cult altogether. Why are you here? Trans specifically, I disagree with. If they aren't okay with themselves, why do they hypocritically want you to accept them for who they are? What the fuck does that even mean? I don't even understand what that means. If they're not happy with themselves, do you walk around like accepting people? Is that every person you meet, do you scan them Terminator style and be like, all right, acceptable, unacceptable? The fact that you think you matter to other people, that's the part. They don't give a shit if you accept them. Who gives a fuck? They just don't want to be discriminated against. They don't want to be mistreated. Who gives a fuck what you think? They don't. They just don't want it to be one of those things where you think like they shouldn't have the same rights you have, and then it manifests into reality. With all of the pedo stuff that goes on, with all of the Israel supremacy genocide that's going on, to think that you give a shit about some dude that wants to wear a dress is just fucking insane. You want to talk about distracted by fucking stupid shit. And again, none of those people are like, man, I've been getting made fun of my whole life for being effeminate. I don't fit in society very well. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put on a dress because that's going to make everyone like me. That's not how that works. The courage it takes to do that shit is beyond anything you have, I guarantee it. To be able to do that knowing that 95% of the people you meet are going to treat you in a different way because of it. Not just treat you like a normal human being who just living their life the way they want to live it. I think people that fuck feet are way weirder than trans people. If you can fuck someone's feet or you want someone's feet on your junk, like that is just, to me, that is so outlandish and crazy. But I can't walk around and identify people that fuck feet. The whole thing is just nuts. I have nothing against being gay. You do, though. You do, you just don't realize it. Don't want my daughter or sister or mother, grandma sitting in the can next to one of those trans dudes. What makes sense to you about that? Do you think that trans dudes haven't been using the bathroom next to chicks forever? As a matter of fact, most chicks have gay friends that they go to the bathroom with all the time. The trans dude probably isn't into chicks. Like the whole argument is just stupid. So what you prefer is that they're in the bathroom next to you, taking a piss in their dress? That's what you want? But then you don't want them to have special bathrooms either that's for them, which they shouldn't have to, because then it identifies them. Because a lot of times you'd never know. There's a lot of trans people out there that you would never know are trans. They're supposed to go into a special bathroom and identify themselves? Like, do you realize how stupid you sound? Show me the story. This is one of those things that's always fun. Show me the story of the trans person, not the guy who dressed as a woman. And even then, I don't even know about that story. But show me the trans story of a trans person who went to the bathroom to fuck with females. That shit doesn't exist. If there is one or two of those stories somewhere, they pale in comparison to the amount of stories about priests, preachers, religious clergy across the board raping children. Yet you're going to focus on this one thing that might have happened once, maybe twice. Same thing with like the Boy Scouts. Show me the Boy Scout story. Show me the hundreds and thousands of Boy Scout stories and then the billions of dollars in payouts that they've done to cover it up, like the church. It's always so funny. It's men that come on. I don't want my girlfriend, my dude, your girlfriend, your mother, your what? They all have a gay friend that they go to the bathroom in front of all the time. What would really make things better is if we stopped demonizing the human body and making women's bodies this super taboo thing. You know, women can't go shirtless because, you know, it's indecent. Guys can walk around with titties hanging out, that's fine. But women can't do it. You know, if we didn't make women so, you know, and it's always funny too how you have like these guys who want to pretend like they're so women's rights, but then they're always trying to tell women what they can or can't do. You know, it's so interesting to me. But then at the same time, you know, I'm somebody that doesn't believe women should be allowed to be cops, patrol officers. I think there's a lot, it's actually a weird thing. Like, it's something that we don't talk about. But any position where a woman has decision over a man's life, especially when it's a situation where it could be like man versus a woman, you know, divorce proceedings or whatever it might be. To have a woman who we don't know her period history. Every single one of us knows a woman, and not just one, probably if you've known a woman for a long time, I'd say 99% of the time, there's been at least one incident where she had to apologize or you had to apologize for her or whatever because she's on her period. And she's not very nice on her period. She's not very rational on her period. This isn't something that we're allowed to talk about or test for or anything. So every single woman that gets put in a position, especially a woman that walks around with a gun, who's inferior physically, her literally only real line of defense is to shoot somebody. She can't wrestle. She can't fight back. You can't show me a single video of a female cop single-handedly taking down a dude. A dude who's fighting back. And I know this would be controversial, but again, like, you know, we all know somebody who's a nutbag when they're on their period. Would you want that person proceeding over your life? Deciding life and you know, life decisions for you? Making judgment calls for you when they're in the midst of their fucking crazy periods? I think it would be interesting if when it comes to female judges, if there was a study done that went back and found out when those women are on their cycle and went back and looked at all the cases that they presided over when they were on their period versus when they weren't, and to see if there was any difference. I could be wrong. I'd be more than okay with being wrong on that. But it would be an interesting thing to try to figure out. But nobody's surgically changing your body. But surgically changing your body is not natural or necessary. So there's lots of times when surgically... I mean, again, I agree with you when it comes to things like circumcision, when it's not a choice that's made, when it's a choice that's made for you. But people get earrings, man. People get tattoos. They're changing their bodies. You get your wisdom teeth pulled out. We're going to outlaw the pulling out of wisdom teeth? Yeah. You get hurt in some way, you need to surgically change your body. We're going to outlaw that? If I'm not okay with being bullied, yeah, let me change to a girl. That's the only thing I can't agree. So, again, wrap your head around that. If somebody is getting bullied and they still go that far, they're not doing it for any positives, at least outwardly. It's about something that's inside them. It's not some attention grab or anything like that. To already be being bullied and then make it worse for yourself means you really have to believe in that thing. And that's across the board, right? If you're somebody who's under suspicion for pedo stuff, and you go, fuck it, people think I'm this way, so I'm going to outwardly live this way, you're going to get more attention that way. It's going to bring more attention, more of that negative attention. It really doesn't matter what situation you're talking about. If you embrace it, it's going to bring more of the attention. But to say things like, well, I don't agree with it, who gives a fuck what you agree with? If somebody isn't hurting someone else, and somebody isn't doing something to someone else against their own will, who are you to decide what they can do for themselves? This is such a crazy phenomenon. You think that you get to decide and what do you think other people should decide for you? What parts of your life do you think other people should decide? I don't know where you live, but there's a lot of places where if you drink, you can't buy alcohol on a Sunday morning because that's God's day. Is that okay? I mean, I despise alcohol. I don't think anybody should be drinking alcohol. But I shouldn't be able to buy alcohol because you believe in Sky Daddy? The whole abortion issue. Somebody should raise a child that they don't want, whether it's an accidental thing or they got raped by a family member or just somebody but they should be forced into raising their children, that child, because you don't agree with it? What the fuck are you? What if people stopped believing in I don't know, something you believe in, cancer treatment or whatever? Should you not be allowed to get treatment? Because there are a lot of people out there who don't believe in doctors and all that shit. Should those people's belief trump your ability to go to a doctor? They are aggressive with me and want special treatment. I would love to see this aggression that comes your way. I would love to see it. How these people are aggressive. Hey, I'm a woman. Look at me, I'm a woman. They all in your face and aggressive with you. That's a pretty big stretch, don't you think? That's a pretty big fucking stretch. You know what you sound like? You sound like one of those white guys, pre-civil rights bullshit. These niggers, they won't be free. They gotta be all up in my face with it. You know, I don't mind them hanging out in their own clubs and stuff like that, but I don't want them around me. I don't want them around my family. I definitely don't want to see them kissing and stuff. Ew. Not the trans people. Again, I would love to see it because I actually know trans people. My wife is really good friends with a trans person, and that's literally one of the best people we know. She is one of the sweetest, kindest, you know, most helpful, most non-confrontational, couldn't give a fuck about you type of people. Of course, if you were to discriminate against her or treat her differently, well then yeah, she's gonna say something to you. If you feel like you're allowed to just openly discriminate, openly talk your shit, and the other person is not supposed to respond, I can't, again, that's some white privilege I can't really wrap my head around. Epstein is only one of many reasons to reject MAGA. They're destroying America. Why do people say such crazy things? The only thing coming close to destroying America is Israel. Personal experience. Again, I can't imagine you're just walking down the street, minding your own business, and some trans gets all up in your shit. Hey, check me out. Look at me. Respect me. Like, I don't see it. In my comment, and it literally just said nothing against them if they don't bother me. I don't understand how anybody's bothering you. Well, okay, after not reading the comments that explain the contents, I guess agree to disagree. There is no such thing as agree to disagree. Someone is wrong. Whenever somebody says agree to disagree, they've run out of shit to say. And instead of just acknowledging that they're wrong, they say, well, let's just agree to disagree. The fact is, you still have some bigot programming left over. And it would behoove you to get over that shit. Because there's a reason why Pride Month is in June. It's the first month after Passover takes place. And Passover could be at any time. So it could be in the beginning of May or at the end. But all the blood that gets spilled is then covered up because that same picture of that one trans guy that looks like RuPaul is reading a book to some kids. And if you think a trans person reading a book to some kids makes people trans, then I wish you would help me start the Doctors Reading Books program. Because if all it takes is somebody in a costume reading a book to children to make them be that thing, then fucking A, let's have doctors go read books to children. They'll become doctors. Nobody gives a shit about you, you dumb Jay. You won't say why you're here, so your comments mean nothing. Yes, and you think it's okay to have kids around drag queens. Yeah, why not? Do you not have kids? Is that what it is? So you don't really understand? What do you think happens? Do you think like the drag queens like ooze a substance that the kids can catch? If your kid meets a drag queen and then goes, I'm gonna do that. They were gonna do that anyway. They just didn't come across it early enough. Or they didn't come across it yet. A quote normal kid sees a drag queen and giggles. That's silly, a dude dressing like a girl. And then goes about their business. They don't give a shit. Like the one thing adults tend to do is when they talk about gay or trans, they put all their own homophobic shit on there. And they assume that the kids think that way, especially little kids. Like little kids don't think when you talk about dudes like dudes. Like if you say to a little kid, you know what gay is? And they say, you know, no. And you say, okay, that's when boys like boys. Then they're going to go, oh, well, I'm gay because I don't like girls. Girls are stupid. And you got to, oh, no. I mean, like when boys like mommies and daddies like each other. They're either going to go, ew, or they're going to go, that sounds interesting. But that's, you know, they're not thinking, oh, I bet that's cocks and mouths and butt sex and cocks and blowjobs and, you know. That's not what they're thinking about, you fucking weirdos. Little kids are thinking about, you know, maybe kisses. They don't even have the concept of, wait, he sticks his penis where? And if your kid does know about shit like that, well, that's probably on you. Yes, and you think it's okay, kids are on drag queens. That's definitely not okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember you saying you let your kids at a drag show. Of course, if that's what they wanted to do. If my kid says, I want to do a drag show, first of all, that's not going to be the first clue that something else is going on. You're not going to have, you know, Johnny Football suddenly be like, oh, I think I'm going to do drag. But what am I supposed to do? Like smack him in the face and be like, no, here's a football, go play football. Is that what you think you should do there? You know? If my kid is really, really insistent on it, then I'm going to let them do it. And if they feel fucking goofy doing it, then they'll never want to do anything like that again. But if that makes them feel like a person, well, fucking hey, what do I care? How does that hurt anybody? How does that harm you in the slightest? You know, I mean, it's just you're so confused here, and it's really weird. Okay, you literally bring every topic right back to the kids and claim you're not doing the same thing. I'm not understanding what that means. You don't have kids, so there is no argument here. They have the right, now doubt. They have the right, no doubt, I don't know. I was mainly saying trans people around kids when they are super young is not okay because it influences their mind before they can even understand. So at what age did you know that you were a straight white male? I know when I was little, my uncle had this girlfriend. She was really pretty, blonde hair girl, long blonde hair. And from a very young age, I like right away, I gravitated towards her and I used to love her hair. She was really pretty and I used to love to play with her hair as a little kid. The fact is, most of the time, even as a little kid, you know whether a kid, like you know when it's a gay kid, that's for damn sure. You know, the little kid that's all sassy and has feminine, you know, movements and doesn't want to play with the other boys and wants to play house and shit. Like, yeah. I always talk about this dude Prince I grew up with. You know, and this is in the 80s, so we didn't really know what gay was yet. But like we knew Prince was a girl. That's what we would always call him because he just acted like a girl. He had all those mannerisms and shit. His head would always sway and, you know, and he would do that, like turn his back and snap and shit. Like he would do all of it. And it turned out Prince is gay, no shit. But we knew that in like 3rd grade and shit. We knew something, he wasn't like the other boys. It would have been a hell of a lot better and a hell of a lot easier for Prince if we would have had any sort of tolerance or training or, you know, we knew anything about it. But it was such a taboo subject back then that nothing happened. He just got teased all the time. That poor fucking kid. You know, it was just what it was. It was like commonplace to tease Prince because he's a girl. So we call him Princess. And I could tell you, I was around Prince all the time, and I never was like, hey, maybe I should start acting like a girl. I have 2 boys. At any point, if I would have tried to put my boys in a dress, even after they saw a dude in a dress, they would have been mad at me. My one kid used to grab a stick, and he would just hit stuff with it. Stick, bot, bot, and he'd hit stuff. He just had that boy in him. At what point do you think a child that they're capable of understanding things? And like how, like again, if you think that seeing some dude in a dress influences a child that wouldn't normally want to put on a dress, but suddenly they see like, if seeing a dude in a dress influences you and makes you like, and you're attracted to that, well, that's who you are. Most kids, when you see a dude in a dress, they giggle. It looks silly to them. Especially since it's when it's a drag queen, especially, it's like this super exaggerated version of a Far Side comic woman. I never was in school, never watched queer content as a kid, and still ended up trans. It's just who you are. Oh, I didn't realize we had a trans person here. I would have been saying, reading the comments. Trans rights are human rights. Exactly. I agree with you on that. Alex takes stories that never happened for 500. There's nothing stopping them from just going in there and doing it. Matt actually brain dead take. I had one who lived in my sister and me. It was a man wearing a dress. Who lived in. They felt more entitled to the house than me. It was my grandparents' house. So it's not possible that that person was just an asshole? You think it's because they were trans? That's what made them into that person? And that's how all trans people are, because this one time you had a roommate. Come on, Matt, you're smarter than this. Do you not realize how stupid you sound right now? You're literally doing the bigot thing. Well, this one time, this one thing happened to me with this one group of people. So that means for the rest of my life, I'm going to associate that group of people with that one person. I've never had to be aggressive with anyone. People just see me as a woman I am. So you can't disprove my religion, my reality. Absolutely. Can't disprove your reality. I can prove that you're being foolish, especially if you're talking about your bigoted kid perspective. You were a kid when it happened. It was a negative situation. You were younger, so it wasn't as commonplace. Well, I guess you're only like 26, right? It still wasn't as common as it is now. And again, you're associating an asshole with an entire group of people. That makes no sense. The one person, man, wow, one person was shitty, so condemn all the rest, I guess. Okay, gonna ignore me and my personal story, I guess. Guy didn't see it if it didn't happen. Unbelievable. Are like, what kind of crybaby shit? I mean, I know I'm responding to the comments way afterward, but that's some crybaby shit. Stole my mail, broke my stuff. Oh man, trans people are terrible because of an asshole. As I'm lying about real life and you're wrong for not reading all comments that explain. Do you understand what a baby you sound like? Obviously, I hadn't gotten to that part yet. Right? I was reading them as they go. It's hard to respond to all the comments if I'm also reading them. But to sit here and act like, again, like nobody said you were lying. They're saying you're being ridiculous. If one has to be wrong, it's the one without all the information. Literally, you have no single story that can explain why trans people shouldn't have rights. Whatever single experience you had does not fucking matter. And I'm so glad that this actually came out. I'm so glad that you said this. And I applaud your courage for saying it, because it does, you know, it takes courage to be vulnerable, right? I just hope you understand how misguided and ridiculous you're being because of it. And I'll be interested to see how far we get into the comments before this changes. Should be the, but okay, guy, take care. Guess, oh, he's gonna leave. That's fucking hilarious. We can't be reasonable to talk things out without getting offended. See, look at how upset you're getting. That's pretty interesting. You're getting called out on something and you're literally doing what everybody else does. It's so interesting to me how this is how we've been programmed to respond. How can anything ever change if it doesn't matter what's being talked about? As soon as it crosses your line, you flip into the same sort of character. You sound just like all the Christians, just like all the Jays. You sound the exact same. You're not acknowledging what's being said, and you're exaggerating your victimhood. You're extrapolating everything I say to an extreme. What? What extreme are we talking about now? How can you be against pedophiles then also support kids being near sexually charged events? Yep, sexually charged events. Because heterosexuality isn't pushed on kids from a very young age from every direction. Right. What is a sexually charged event? You think drag shows are sexually charged events? Have you ever seen how goofy that shit is? Parents sexually charged. Anything like that is 18 and up. Right. Like, again, do you think that, like, the drag show for kids is going to be like the drag show for adults? Are you fucking insane? Well, how can you be so broken? And the same thing, like, if you were to just switch out trans for black people, he would literally sound like all of those white people in the 40s and 50s and shit. Cobus there is prancing, you just supporting guy now. You sound just like all the comments, all the other. You know how much the system is laughing at you right now? You're literally saying the same. You're just agreeing with God. That's what they say about you all the time, Matt. You're just agreeing. No strip drag shows there's a difference. Exactly. Learning about queer people does not ruin their influence, their innocence. For sure. It prevents bigots like this from existing. If people had an understanding, if people could understand that they might run into an asshole who might be trans, who might be gay, who might be black, who might be Chinese, who might be one thing or another, that doesn't represent the entire group of people. Like, I thought we all knew that. I guess since trans wasn't put into that equation, maybe. I cannot believe Matt, of all people, is saying such stupid shit. It's crazy. I'd probably be the only good influence in her life. Hey, girl, that's me, bro. Right. There you go. It's what they have. Looked it up, Grant. Found absolutely nothing. They're just stupid. Again, these are all the same people who are going to act like even if there's a story about the trans gay person that did do this or did do that. Oh no! Trans person that did do this or did do that. It doesn't even come close to the amount of stories that come out of the churches, all the denominations. It's insane to think that the danger are the people that wear dresses. The dudes that put on dresses are the danger, not the Epsteins, not the Matitza Bipa cult, practitioners. Funny how you know about trans people and drag shows and all that. Most of you don't understand that it's very common practice for Jays to, at the Brit Milah circumcision parties they have, that the moil, after he cuts, sucks. You don't realize just how frequent that shit is happening. How frequently. It's reported like it's this, you know, rare thing. It's fucking not. And if it happens once, it's once too many. Imagine all the children negatively affected by that. With circumcision in general. Circumcision should absolutely be outlawed. Absolutely be outlawed. It's just a horrendous, traumatic, disgusting thing that we do because they say so. It's not even like it's medically necessary. If it was medically necessary, then it'd be done all over the world. Europe wouldn't explicitly deny it. It's horrendous. It's why we have the largest prison system in the world. Why there's so much penis association and rape and all that. Because right after being born, the majority of Goyim men are traumatized regarding their penis. Do you like the gravity, the weight of that, the implications of all that by far outweigh a dude in a dress. But this is the shit that you want to be distracted by. Tell me what I should Google then, oh wise sage, knower of all. Literally, I'm looking up drag strip shows for kids, and they all come up. Some Reddit post talking about drag shows in general. Yeah, I wouldn't even want to search that shit. If people want to prey on kids, all they have to do is be a pastor. Exactly. But this, you know, this is the shit they do. They say shit and they hope that you won't Google it. They say dumb things and they hope that people will just read it and assume it's true. Like if there was an actual strip drag show, it wouldn't be the biggest fucking story in the world and everybody'd be talking about it, and you know, it would be everywhere. And dumb white guys would be talking about it left and right. Notice how the trans person is the one that actually gives a shit about their grammar and the way they're perceived. The rest of these fucking idiots, they spell shit wrong. They fucking, you know, they don't use proper sentence structures, and they just make shit up. They don't actually address what's being said other than to make shit up and say stupid things. There's a distinct difference between the real trans person and all of these fake fucking Israeli accounts. It's so weird to me. Like, it would be understandable if people were like, I don't like gay people because I think that's gross. Like, it would at least make more sense. I personally think me doing gay stuff is gross. Just like gay dudes think eating box is fucking gross. Just like gay dudes think vagina is gross. As a straight man, I think other penises are gross. There's nothing wrong with that. You can think that way. It's okay for you to think that way. Do I think I belong in any sort of women's clothing? No, that's fucking ridiculous. That doesn't work for me at all. Just like I don't think I'm going to walk around in a samurai costume either. Just like I don't think I'm going to walk around being anything other than myself. Do I think that you know, somebody else shouldn't be allowed to dress as a woman because it's ridiculous for me to do it? What kind of crazy shit is that? That's that arrogance coming through again. I mean, Grant is clearly a fucking bot. Or an Act IL type representative. Grant still hasn't said why Grant is here. What is Grant's motivation for being here for hours now? Begging for attention. I wouldn't even address these idiots because they're fake. Their whole purpose is to, not one of them is talking about how we should kill the pedos. They're just trying to associate trans and pedos because I guess that's, What's up, Speed Racer? What you doing?
About to go in there, line it up, shower, go to my niece's birthday.
You're always doing something. Nah, man, you got plenty of time to sleep when you're old. Enjoy your life now, man.
I'm old now, man.
Shut up. Just shut up. Have a good one, man. Why do you think he ducks my comments? Because you're stupid. You don't say anything that matters. I've already said I ignore you because you won't express why you're here to begin with. Simple question. What is your motivating factor for being here? Which thing don't you agree with? That we should kill pedos? That we should stop the genocide? That we should eliminate the J control scheme? Or all three, or a version, or a mix of them? Which thing is it? Because you'd like to stay ignorant. Excuse me. Matt, I violate my kids' consent all the time. Walsh clearly an unabashed source of information. But you won't read my... I'm literally reading the comments. See, here we go with the excuses again. They won't answer the simple question because of that I'm literally reading the comments and saying, okay, come on. You have the fucking floor. I'll read your comments. Let's do it. Prove why you're here. No, you won't read it. Well, you'll just deny it. I'm surprised he hasn't banned me yet. Oh, see, now we're trying to get banned so that you don't have to answer the question. Right? Really simple. All you have to do is answer the question. Trying everything you can to get out of it, right? Semantics is for people who there we go. See, at this point now, I'm going to go back to not reading his comments because he has the opportunity to show that they are their Semitism, they're so much smarter and better than we are. He could sit here and fucking make something real poignant said, and instead he just keeps proving the point. By the way, like, share, sub. Don't forget to like, share, sub. Shit helps. 10 likes, 9 viewers makes total sense. You're literally the one who brought up semantics, right? Oh, here we go again. Same old comments. Do you have a job? I have been here for 3 hours, and clearly I'm not at work. Or am I? Do you have a job? Interesting how this always works. Same old, like the same characters say the same things. All right, one character says this, one character says that. I wish the chat would let me go back that far. Yeah. It's just cowardly bullshit. Don't even engage. When you can't answer, like, I'm not asking you a whole bunch of different things. I'm asking you one simple thing, which shouldn't even be a big deal. Ask somebody what they're doing here. What's your motivation for being here? on this particular channel that covers this specific stuff, and you choose to be here and talk shit. So what is your motivation? Why is that such a hard thing to answer? Why do they always cowardly get out of here? I want the debate. Oh, that's why you're here. You want the debate. Right. So instead of actually bringing up anything that I'm supposedly wrong about, you just keep saying dumb shit. If you wanted the debate, you would make the debate happen. You would start saying things. What are you expecting? All right, here, this point. Now you go. Is that what you're expecting? You have all of the ability in the world to say anything you want on here. You're the one that chooses to not say anything that matters. But you don't want the debate because you're not going to bring anything up. At least not anything we're talking about. Now we're on to something stupid. I own this live. You right now are the best example we have, yes. When I'm talking about needing an example of a stupid, desperate fucking jackass, you are the person. We gotcha. I'm ducking. I gave all the facts. And what facts? Again, why aren't you just expressing the point? I appreciate this so much. Literally, anybody with a brain, if I was wrong about something and he could express what I'm exactly wrong about, with as desperate as he is to get attention, he would just say it. Just say it. Just say the thing. Not claim you've said the thing. Say the thing. But there's literally nothing. I mean, this is the thing. Tell us why you oppose the idea of killing pedos, or stopping the genocide, or ending the J slavery. Which thing is it? He started off calling Republicans Nazis. Yeah, okay. And keeps talking about his hate for Jays. Yep, okay, so I definitely hate them for sure. What's the debate here? Your wife is Jay? Oh, sorry about that one. That sucks. Absolutely hate your wife. For sure. Oh no, I promise I do. I hate Israel and them. Israel is just a place, man. Israel is just an idea. It's just a thought. Whatever town you live in, it's the same thing. It's the inhabitants. It's the psychopathic cult that inhabits it. And you can't be like, oh, well, I'm a NAMBLA member, but I don't partake in the child stuff. Well, then why are you a NAMBLA member? Why aren't you actively doing what you can to remove the child stuff? You can't belong to the pedo cult and just be like, well, I just like the advantages that come with this. So, I'm going to ignore all the negative shit. Doesn't work that way. I hold you all accountable. And then there's the genocide. And the thing is, like, just because you can find a couple of videos that might show some supposed Jays saying similar things, like some things that are right, doesn't mean shit. At the end of the day, they think you're a goyim. I don't care what they tell you. That's what they believe. That's what their shit says, and they follow their shit. You are a goyim. At some point in the near future, when the Messiah shows up, each one of them gets 2,800 goyim slaves. Like there's no, this isn't a nice thing. This is a bad thing. The way they treat women, that their vaginas are poisonous and need to be cleansed every month. The whole circumcision ritual, it's all awful. It's awful shit. There is no excusing it. And you can't say, oh, well, I'm only part of it. I'm only this. I'm only that. Oh, look at this shit. Not a goddamn thing. Not a goddamn thing. This person keeps talking about the debate that they want to have, but not bringing anything up. This is so typical. This is what happens so frequently. I'm supposed to read when you started debate. I had over 200 people here. No, I never had over 200 people here, you dumbass. This feed hasn't gotten anywhere close to that. Are you just lying on purpose to completely discredit yourself? Like, what are you even thinking here? You actually build bombs. That's terrible. Here we go. I mean, if you're going to admit that you're somebody that trolls, that you find somebody that thinks we should kill pedos, and that's the profile you troll, like, you'll never see these guys trolling a media representative or a news page or something like that, telling them, you know, release the files, interview this person, you know, do your job. You never see them trolling in that regard. The only thing they want to do is troll somebody who thinks we should kill pedos and stop the genocide. Like, who the fuck is that? That's a weird admission. And to think that, like, all of your troll activities, like, fall right in line. It's not like you disrupt the feed or anything. You make it better. You know? Normal people are going to be like, I can't understand why somebody would do that. That's just weird. And yet you are, you know, you're mad about the guy talking about pedos. If you're wet on a fart, blah, 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 right next to Donald Trump. So this is the debate this guy's trying to have, huh? Boring. Boring. Anyway, there is no debate because what could you say? How could you possibly begin to say I'm wrong about anything? Obviously they can't, or they would. Democrats claimed genocide strengthens culture. What the fuck does that even mean? Y-O-U-R, right. I do make the feed better. At least there's jokes. Stupid jokes, yeah. Because, you know, when you're talking about pedophilia, what's better than jokes? Who doesn't hear about pedophilia and it's like, that reminds me of some jokes I know? Everything they say outs them. It shows you who is actually behind these scenes. And I appreciate it. But I'm going to bounce. So go get your free download, www.the-bilderberg, It's free. I'll ask you how much you want to pay, but it's free. Just put 0 or give a little. You got to give a little. We appreciate it. I'm going to leave you with the movie Hollywoodism, most important film ever made. It's the film where they talk about how they do everything I'm talking about. It's really the craziest flex you'll ever see. And I'm going to leave you with 3 links to our Facebook page so you can see the music videos. Like them, share them, subscribe. Do the same thing here, like, share, sub. And have yourself a wonderful day. You pedophiles, you know what to do. You kill yourself.